you use a visual as a medium to do research. Therefore, it's called visual research, and wherein you collect visual inputs and you start using analysis tools to arrive at possible solutions. So as we know, research is a process. It follows several steps. Like initially, the first step, you kind of formulate the research question, and sometimes you choose the field of study. And the second stage is all about engaging yourself in collecting information directly, indirectly, doing several qualitative or quantitative exercise. In a third stage is once you have ample amount of data, now you have to make meaning out of that data. You will start using analytical tools to kind of see certain pattern. And lastly, you synthesize or conclude or come up with solutions. And this particular exercise, very quickly, I want to share, like what I did is that just to demonstrate how a visual research works, I kept this simple subject area or a field of study, which is like a face mask. And initially I did lots of reading. Most of the research is a secondary research because it was locked down. I didn't have any opportunity to go out and do real exercises. So I use internet as a major medium to do a research. While I was studying, I got many things, a fashion designer getting into manufacturing masks, and there are several brands, clothing brands getting into the masks or medical masks. Why the fashion brands are entering into mass manufacturing? So that's a kind of evolution in terms of mass aesthetic. And then there are a bunch of fashion designers who kind of harping on this particular trend. Okay, so let me share with you, like, see, for example, here you can see clearly, like, I collected images, and once you collect images, like it's a research, you're collecting information or data. And I wanted to apply analysis tool called a latch. Let me introduce the analysis tool called latch. So you can clearly see the L stand for location, A stand for alphabet, and T stand for a time factor, and C stand for category. And another way you can organize your information on a hierarchy base. Latch is all about organizing your information on these 5 ways in which you can organize your information. So I would like to give an example how we are extensively using these 5 methods of organizing information. So let me directly get into those examples. So you can see extensively maps are using location factors in their organizing information. When it comes alphabets, a dictionary extensively used alphabetical order or organizing their data points. Time is another aspect. According to that, you can organize your data. And the category, which is very much evident whenever you walk into any tailor shop, you can see clearly men's, women's, children clothing. That's again, it's category extensively they used. The hierarchy is another effective way in which you can organize information. In some, you can organize the data point information on the factor of location, or according to alphabet, or you can bring a time factor into it, or else you can kind of have categories and organize your data according to those categories, or you can have a hierarchy or hierarchical way you can organize data. So in my exercise, I followed the category factor to organize my data and see the insights from category as primary way of segregating or organizing this data. So here you guys can clearly see some masks are medical masks, some are like a little fancier design, some are, I believe, like it represents some kind of organization or there's a country flag driven, and a few of them have like high fashion brands. And this is something, if you see, there's a lot of coordination between her dress and mask. Similar thing you can see. In a sense, some people are using it as a fashion statement, some people are, it's become a lifestyle, somewhere it become kind of coordination, somewhere it's just a functional. It needs to be where it has got whatever medically approved. I'm not saying others are not medically approved, but these are a basic mask versus designer mask versus pattern mask. So you can see, so I use a category from the latch tool. So I categorize which are medical masks is one category, then a ramp walk or a fashion is another category. Then I made the third category, which is like luxury fashion brands are coming up with masks, and there's another category which has got going beyond boring, monotone color. You break being very monotone to the pattern or a colorful mask. So like that, I divided into 4 categories so you can see the contrast. So for example, like in this case, like it's much more basic, and here you can see extreme, what you call a fashion bit is happening. These are nice decorative, and here obviously these are driven by their brand assets, so you can easily recognize. And after that, like I kind of further looked deep into it and tried to see some communication or messaging, or I wanted to create some visual communication or give some message. I kind of went to 2 extremes, and then I tried to kind of connect these 2 extremes. And here you can see that maybe in this context we can say this is much more monotonous, there is no quotient to fashion. And here I can see it has got it's an accessory, you can wear it and you're proud of wearing that. So I took that contrast, and then a thought came to me. You can clearly see this is all need based, this is all want based. You can see that clear factor here. So therefore we kind of traveled from need to want. And the further I was contemplating here, if you look at it, like extreme 2 categories bringing together in a fashion which is creating a complete image, it gives certain kind of a pictorial message. Louis Vuitton does any kind of initiative regarding pandemic or COVID related, maybe they would like to have these kind of identities which really represents a poster or a communication piece. They can play with this like this. And one more interesting thing, so yeah, now you can clearly see that like once you kind of collect data, visual data, then I kind of applied a latch tool. In that tool specifically I used category factor, and once I see the category, then I started seeing meanings were emerging from this analysis, which led kind of portray contrast in subject and collective picture speaking a lot more than what an individual picture speaking. And further I used of it in fashion, and try to create some initiative. If they're taking initiative, what kind of communication piece they can create. So visual research is essentially important to see deeper layers and see newer possibilities, or come up with communication solutions